Texas Trade Talks with Paul Lawson.
I'm Paul Lawson. Welcome to Texas Trade Talks. We've got an incredible show lined up for you today. We have a guest that I've known for a very long time, and you'll get to meet him right after these messages. Welcome back to Texas Trade Talks. I'm Paul Lawson, and this is my good friend Joe in the studio with us today. Joe, you want to tell me a little bit about yourself? How long have you been in the industry, and when did you get started?
I've been in the industry going roughly 25 years.
Okay.
And oddly enough, when I got started, I was in high school. I think my mom was kind of seeing me as a bum. And so she was working at a convenience store at the time. Yeah, definitely my mom. This was not like what I thought I was going to do when I was younger. You know what I'm saying? Because I thought, I was going to be something different, nothing of what I'm doing now. But nonetheless, she got me a job at she was working at a convenience store, and she talked to a bunch of the trade guys that would come in. And
that's right.
Yeah. And oddly enough, she turned me onto a guy named Jim Stone, and he was
Jim.
working at a plumbing outfit. And I, oddly enough, was just, all right, well, I guess I got to do something in life. So I
Fair enough.
applied, got hired, and here I am today.
Oh, okay. All right. So Jim was the reason why you got your start then.
Yeah, definitely.
So did you work, but you didn't go straight to the new construction department though, right? You were working in the service department, correct?
I think at that time I was bouncing between, because they didn't have like a dedicated, like a lot of helpers at that time. I guess, just like now, nobody really wants to come in here unless they have to come in here.
Kind of like what we do sometimes.
Yeah, right,
so you got to move
definitely.
the apprentices where you need them the most.
Yeah, exactly. And at that time, I was more in new construction, but because service was so slow and didn't have much people, I got bounced around for sure.
I know that feeling. How many times did you get dropped off to do a hand dig by yourself?
Too many times.
And we got these guys nowadays digging. What? I'd rather use a hydrovac or a machine.
I
understand.
love it now because I'm older, but I guess when I was younger, I was trying to stay fit, healthy, somewhat look good. I don't know. I was trying to be somebody.
I was hungry for money, and I wanted to make money, and I got to keep my
either.
job.
Yeah, I didn't have anything either.
Yeah. So, what do you like most about the trade? If you had a favorite part of the trade that you could just do all the time, what would that be?
All the time, if I had something to do in the trade, what's my favorite thing? Man, I hate to say it, but it's more like drain work. And
Same.
I don't know. Just having stuff keep you healthy. I don't know, just kind of calls to me for some reason.
Well, for me, it's the challenge, right? Water pipe is PEX, right? Generally speaking, copper. Copper has its own complexities, right? But
sure.
Drains, all of it's regulated. There's, none of it. There isn't a part of our work that's not
at all.
But plumbing, as far as plumbing is concerned, the drains for me, just like yourself, are the most challenging. And when we go in and do a liner, we see that pipe, and we get to see all the scale and what we call the channel rot and the cracks.
Itself, just being itself and
cleaning that out
in the dark all alone.
Yeah, cleaning it out, and for me that's pretty gratifying. So for me, I've been in plumbing. I think just a little less than you. I think I'm going on 21 years now. I'll have to go back and do the math. I'm the greatest.
Yeah. No, I was just saying about it when you asked me earlier. I mean, I think I started in like 98, I'm going to think, because I was about 16 when I started.
See, I started in 2003, but I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, so I went in and did some pool cleaning, and
Right.
also did some spray foam and did a little security guard work. But
Right.
in between those jobs, I always went back to plumbing.
Same.
But
Man, same thing. I started in plumbing, didn't like it, so I went and did like a summer job with my uncle as a mechanic, and that just, I mean, not knowing anything about mechanics or anything like that, and it was just kind of a little too much for me, I think, at that time. Nowadays, it's not as bad because of my experience in plumbing and problem solving and things like that to kind of help me, kind of get me forward. You know what I'm saying? As far as like the technical things that don't involve plumbing, kind of help me out in problem solving. Is like,
right. Well, mechanics, granted they work on the same systems pretty much over and over again, just
right.
different variances. Laying on your back and hunching over and crawling in the back of an
Oh
engine and
God, yeah.
getting down in there and busting your knuckles on all the and having to deal in those tight space and all the oil. That
Yeah.
just. I mean, it was fun. It was fun as a side. I wouldn't even say side job, but more like an extracurricular. So something
Yeah.
that we always enjoyed doing. But now I'm at the
Right.
point where I'll pay you to do it.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't.
just a little too much for me. I've already kind of leaned
Yeah,
into where I'm trying to be, and man, I respect mechanics so much.
yeah. And you know what? One of the things that I didn't like about plumbing in the beginning is it's tough work.
Oh
It's
yeah, definitely.
it's
Not
definitely
for
a
it's
young
not
man's
yeah,
game.
it's definitely a young man's game, and you can't be weak about it, mentally.
Yeah, as Jesus would say, you got to make one with the shovel.
You got to. You have to.
Yes,
You got to.
and
That's the number one tool you need to learn in the beginning
yeah,
is that
because
shovel.
you can't access it. How are you going to put the
Yeah,
pipe
exactly.
together?
How you gonna
So,
work on it? Because
but that
most of our
was
stuff's in the ground.
but what's wild is when I got started in plumbing. My very first plumbing job, I was making $6.25 an hour. I know you were somewhere in that
I was
ballpark.
525. I remember it because now I'm making, good money. But when I think about it now, I was like, man, I think I was getting the shaft. But was I?
Well, that
I was
was
new.
well,
I was green.
that back then things weren't as expensive. The inflation rate wasn't as high as it is.
Right.
Uncle Sam didn't grab quite as much as he
Does
used to,
now.
or at
Yeah.
least maybe he did, and I just didn't realize it because I was young and naive.
Yeah.
But
I didn't know nothing about the world at
that
that
was
time.
it was my determination that kept me going back in to plumbing. I didn't want to be one of those guys that worked at a restaurant or, sitting in one spot drove me nuts. It
Yeah.
really did, and that's one of the reasons why I enjoyed, doing spray foam for a little bit. But man, those guys, they worked insane hours.
Right.
6 o'clock in the morning until 10 o'clock at night. And that in of itself was more, burdensome. The work wasn't challenging; it was easy. It was the amount of hours that it took to get it done,
I
right?
got you.
The heat in the attics,
I can
the
imagine that,
prepping,
dude.
cleaning all the shop floors and getting them prepped and ready for spray foam. That it wasn't challenging. It was just the amount of time I was gone away from the house. So,
Yeah.
but plumbing, that's just one of the things that we face in general is the lack of people coming into the industry, right?
Yeah.
It's a super challenge to get people in, and
I
what
can't keep them in.
right,
You know what
and
I'm
keep them
saying?
in.
Yeah.
I mean, we always one of the true tests of an apprentice and how well they're gonna perform, or if they're gonna last, meet the grit, cut the mustard, however
Yeah,
you want to
however you
phrase
want.
that, is give them a shovel, tell them to dig a hole.
Yeah, dig a hole.
First thing, you let them do it kind of solo to see if they even know how to get the shovel in the ground to even pull dirt out.
Yeah, 'cause that's yeah.
But
I'm sure you've struggled just like I have, and like teaching the new guys. It seems like they've never even touched a shovel.
yeah, well, I'll tell you what, the difference between those guys and us when we got into the industry is the pay. Our we got guys starting out $14, $15 an hour, $16 an hour, depending on driver's license, age, things like
Yeah,
that.
all that stuff.
They definitely, how do I say this eloquently? They're making what our journeymans over at Frank's were making.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
remember,
At that time, yeah.
Daniel and Michael talking about it. They were making 14, 15, and I'm like, man, I can't wait to get to that $14-15 an hour mark,
Right.
you know, and then you see those guys with all their tools. And
Yeah.
I remember getting my first Ryobi power kit, and I was so excited about it, never realizing how much, you know, trash it was.
Yeah. But I mean, you thought it was something at that time, and it was something, you know?
Yeah. So what would you say are the challenges to bringing people into the industry?
Nobody wants to play in poop, you know what I'm saying? And that's the stigma of being a plumber.
but how
Because we're like, we play in poop. No, we don't. I'm trying to get that far away from me and keep it over there and keep it moving down to the treatment plant. I hardly have ever got the business on me.
You know, the first time I ever saw poop come out of a pipe, right? I was working with Larry Cadle.
Oh yeah, Larry was one of my mentors, man. He's one of
So-
the guys that taught me.
So I'm working under the mobile home. He has me go underneath there and pull apart the boot. And, you know, when I pull that boot apart, the water just comes out, and, you know, right next to my face, within a foot, you know, arm's length, this little old turd just rolls out, and it was chock full of corn. So it's safe to say she had a little corn in her diet.
Oh yeah. I love it, you know?
Yeah.
You know what people are eating. If they're nice and healthy, or if it's a nice fibrous one, it's solid and hard.
Well, and that's kind of a stigma that people have on plumbing, is they always associate it with poo.
And
I'm
rightly
not
so, you know what I'm saying? Rightly so, but I mean, there's more to it.
It makes sense, but it's more than that. You got gas
for
systems,
sure.
you got water systems. I mean, a lot of people don't understand or even know, and some that do may not appreciate that plumbers put in the systems that go into hospitals. You know, without plumbers and electricians, doctors wouldn't be able to perform the jobs that they do.
Yeah, other
And
guys.
that's a fact, right? You know, plumbers are responsible for the med gas systems. You know, they're responsible for when you go to the dentist and they're sucking all that stuff out of your teeth. Plumber's responsible for that. The water that they're using to clean that out, plumber's responsible for that. And each one of those systems requires additional training. You know what I'm talking about? You got
all
the
that.
med gas endorsement. You know, you've got the water supply protection specialist endorsement. You got their BPAT. You know, like, there's just so many different endorsements that go along with a license.
Yeah.
And it's more than just poop. And everybody thinks, oh, well, I'm, you know,
Just a plumber.
you're a plumber, you're nasty. I had a doctor one time tell me he wasn't going to shake my hand. Okay.
That's funny,
All right.
because we kind of deal in the same deal, you know,
Maybe he
same
was-
business.
Maybe he was a germaphobe. I don't know.
Maybe I hope that's what I hope to think, but you know,
Yeah,
but we
maybe.
both kind of know the difference.
You know how them hoity-toities can be
Yeah,
sometimes.
I do, man. I do.
That's all right now.
Yeah.
I'm kind of hoity-toity in my own way.
Kinda
So,
working my way up to the hoity-toity.
so, you know, but you know, Amtech's got a great program. That's something that I would like to research further, and you know, reach out to those guys. I've thought about myself getting into it and see if maybe we can't recruit some of those
Youngsters, yeah, hopefully.
youngsters in. But you know, when I went and did the tour, I'll be straightforward with you. I was a little kind of put off because you know, they got they got automotive, welding, HVAC, electrical, plumbing. They got all that stuff, right?
Right.
And plumbing and HVAC, 3 or 4 participants. I don't even at the time when I went and looked, I don't think the plumbing even had that many in the class.
Dang.
But they got like 60 in the welding class, you know, because everybody sees those dually pickups strolling
Yeah,
around
everybody
with
wants
the
to see all
with the
that,
cool
yeah.
welding bed on it and the diesel, and they're independent
Yeah.
and they can go out and do all these
Yeah,
different
they
things.
They see them making money. You know what I'm saying?
And
Yeah,
rightfully
they see
so,
it.
because you know those guys they do make good
some-
money.
They do some hard shit. Yeah.
But that's and that's one of the things that, you know, you go back to plumbing. Everybody can appreciate that welders are kind of like a specialty.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks plumbing is just pipes, and technically plumbing is one of the most regulated industries. In fact, when it comes to cost and regulation, plumbing ranks number 4 and in the country for cost and regulation. Heck, I mean, we got the International Residential Code, we've got the International Plumbing Code, we've got the Uniform Plumbing Code, International Fuel Gas Code, the International Building Code, you know, and all those different codes that apply to us. And so from, you know, it's like a catch-22, because you're trying to get more people into the industry, and one of the ways to entice more, you know, poor people to keep people to get into the industry is with pay, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah.
and it's not just pay. People don't want just pay, and the younger crowd, maybe not so much, but like insurance, 401k, paid time off, vacation, bonuses,
incentives and benefits.
all of those things. And there's a lot of people that feel that hey, if you're going to be in the industry, you should be making good money, and I'm a proponent of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
Hurts your back, hurts your knees, hurts your
Well,
shoulders.
I mean, it takes a lot of work to be a plumber.
Yeah, it takes a lot.
I mean, it takes a lot of physical sacrifice to be a plumber, because you got to think about it. These, we're out there every day sacrificing our body to protect the health of the nation.
Exactly.
That's just facts. And some of the problems that I run into as a business owner is you've got two sets of customers. You have your employees, and then you have your customers that the employees are interacting and dealing with and working for. And people just try to beat you down. They think that plumbing is nothing. It shouldn't be. It should be free. Shouldn't be charging me for this.
Yeah, it just bothers me because you'll have your $300-$400 pair of sneakers, but you won't have your toilet, your toilet or your faucet's been dripping for 6 months or for 4 years and things. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Why don't you just save some water?
Yeah,
Change your faucet.
But they care about the vanity.
Yeah,
that's and I'm not saying that all people are that way. It's just how can you provide a work environment that fosters growth for the youth, but also take care of a customer base that really doesn't value or appreciate what you bring to the table.
Yeah, that's what
you know what I mean.
Like, yeah.
So they think that you should come out for free. And what about the old you were out here working on my kitchen sink and now my toilet's not working.
So I was doing some plumbing, but technically I was not doing that type of plumbing. I wasn't doing anything on that side.
That's something that we run into. I've got a customer that right now she wanted to do a coffee shop in a multi-use building that she's got, right? So we discussed, we were going to go over there and we did the plumbing. And she said she's going to get a mop sink and all that. She's going to do a coffee shop, and by default, we got to have a grease trap.
Right.
Well, anytime in the city of Amarillo you change the use of a building, there's a process that you have to go through. You have to go down to planning and development. You have to come up with a set of prints. They have to have engineered.
Somebody look at it and make sure that they like that.
And then make modifications, and then because it's coming a coffee shop, you have to get the health department involved. Once you get the health, and in order for the health department to sign off on the grease trap that you want, they want the math involved. I mean, we know that particular grease trap's going to work, but they want to see how you calculated that, and understandably so. They don't want you just stabbing something in the ground.
Something in there.
They want to make sure
it's going to work. They want to see.
They want to make sure it's done right. And I explained to this customer 9 different times about what it was that we were doing, and this is after I'd already talked to her on the phone and explained everything and how it would work and what it was going to go. We had both an in-person conversation and over the phone conversation. She was upset about our guy having a broken arm. This is a 45-year plumber, and the way she talked about him was just flat out disrespectful.
That's horrible.
Right?
Man. Everybody breaks arms.
Yeah, but his knowledge, and that's what I couldn't get her to understand, was the knowledge that the man carries. He's been in the industry longer than I've been alive.
Yeah, both of us together.
Yeah. So it's part of the industry. You have a journeyman plumber, you have an apprentice, and his knowledge and his licensing allows the apprentice to do the things that they need to do to get the job done. So him having a broken arm but an able body and apprentice is really not a setback. But no matter what we did, we couldn't satisfy the customer with him. So we ended up giving her a break on the bill. Told her that we were going to have the inspector come out and meet us out on the job so that he could walk us through what exactly it was. It was more for her benefit than mine. Right. I already know
Just
and
for
understand
her
the process.
Peace of mind or something. Yeah.
But it was to try and educate her so she could see it from an official authority and understand that I'm not trying to do more than what I need to do.
Right. Exactly.
And she called into the shop that day. She couldn't make it, and she does it, calls in 5 minutes before the meeting. So me and the inspector pretty much met up over there for really, truthfully, for no reason, because I've already, I already know what I got to do. I already know the steps.
You already done planned all this.
Yeah, I already know what he's going to tell me. Yeah. So, long story short, reached back out to her yesterday, and we got into an email thread. And she proceeded to tell me, like, she just didn't seem to understand why we hadn't been out. We paused the job until we got that until she got the stuff with the city worked out.
Right.
Because we didn't want to go in and do a bunch of extra stuff. They were going to make her change it to an ADA restroom, for example. You know what I mean? Right. What type of water heater they're going to want, and it's not necessarily what type of water heater that they're going to want, but, what their expectations are going to be. That way she knows what she's going to be spending, and we can give her a price for that. Yeah. That way she's...
You don't want her to have two tanklesses when she don't really need nothing.
So we've got a permit pulled on the project, and she has another contractor, another plumber. I don't even know if it was a plumber, Bubba, come in and finish work under our license. So now that's turned into
that's a whole thing now.
Yeah, it's turned into a whole thing now, because now we're gonna now the city officials are gonna want to know who it was that did the work, what did they do, what we did, and it just she went and muddied the water and made it overcomplicated. And to boot,
and at the end of the day, she made it worse for herself.
Really, she did. And the thing is, she seems to think that we don't deserve to be paid because we didn't finish work on a toilet and a sink. And I tried to explain it to her, ma'am, you've got wall coverings off. They have to see the work is inside before we can put the wall covering back on, put the sink in, put the toilet in. They have to see this stuff.
To see what's in the wall.
Right. Like there's an inspection process. Yeah, there's an inspection process. There's a way this works. And she just wouldn't stop hanging up on that. And as of yet, she still hasn't paid us. She owes us over $7,000, right? And the reason I bring that up is just, it all kind of ties back into what we were just talking about. Trying to bring somebody into the industry, trying to get them paid, and we can't even collect on a project that the customer agreed to have done. Right. And she's already paid the other guy to finish our work, so according to her.
Out already and still trying to stiff the bill, huh?
Yeah. And she's like, well, you never finished the toilet and the sink. Well, we can't. We got to get an inspection.
Yeah. Well, what happens from there? So now,
I don't know.
Process. What's the next step? Seeing as somebody is on your permit that wasn't allowed to be there.
So now it's a legal thing. Like it's turned into somebody's going to catch a fine. Somebody's going to get in trouble. Her project may be shut down until things are done. So she can't move forward on the rest of the project. Right. And we told her we had we've got a permit on this,
Yeah, and that permit is only for the one company, right?
Right, exactly. Right. So puts us on the hook for it. Nobody's allowed to operate under our license. So, but it ties back into the whole, people just don't seem to understand plumbing. You know what I mean? And that's
one of the reasons. They have their own idea of how the plumbing works.
And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this show, was to try and educate people on some of the things to look out for in the plumbing industry. Get some electricians in here, get some heating and air guys in here, get some.
Yeah, because we deal with them all the time. We talk to them out there.
They're licensed professionals.
Yeah,
so
just like us.
We can get them in here and have them talk about slinging wire and running duct work. We call them attic dwellers, right?
Something like that. I don't really know Sparkies, all that.
Yeah. So. But that's really what I'd like to do here with this show, is use it as a platform to educate the customers, have them join in conversation if they'd like to, bring in different hosts. They can make suggestions. You guys can tell us whatever you want. If you want to know how to flush a water heater, we can tell you how to flush a water heater, because at the end of the day, we would like you to be able to handle the smaller stuff. You know what I mean? The stuff that you want to flush a water heater. Why pay us to come out and do it? We can show you how to do it. By educating.
Yeah, showing them how to maintain their own.
Yeah, exactly.
Their own stuff. Yeah.
Here's how you fill. Here's how you change out a flapper. Here's how you change out a fill valve. Here's
the
what
little
you do.
things. That way you don't have to call me and you
run
get
up
that
a bill,
and they're like, well, what the, why is my bill so high? Well, man, I'm 25 years in the game. I apologize that I'm knowledgeable in this and made it so quick, but nonetheless, the bill is the bill.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the aim is to try and put some education out there, and hopefully, bring some information from all the different professions that are associated in the specifically the trades. And that way people might have a better understanding and understand why some of those costs are
The
there.
way they
You know what I
are,
mean?
right.
I don't think people realize how much liability is wrapped up in the trades in general, and the amount of money that a trades company has to spend just to operate. For me to get one of my trucks out on somebody's front door, I have to spend $85,000. That's
truck,
just to get a
the
truck to show
man
up at your
the-
house.
and the and
That
his
doesn't even
helper.
cost that doesn't cover the wear and tear on the truck. That doesn't cover that. That's just to get the tools.
and the bodies.
Well, that doesn't even include the cost to get the bodies on there, right? That's just to get the tools out there.
Right.
That's just to get the truck with the tools and the parts out there on site, right? Then you have to pay the plumber, and we pay what? 5 different insurances, 6 different insurances that we have to pay. And the insurance companies, you hear homeowners say, well, my insurance just went through the roof. Well, imagine what a commercial business is like.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Our insurance went from $10,000 a year on our fleet to $33,000. Snap of a dime. So there's reasons why that cost is high. It's expensive to attract people into the industry.
Mm-hmm.
It's expensive to offer those people benefits and give them those things. I mean, every single homeowner surely ought to understand when if they go and they try to buy insurance, it's expensive. You get that insurance you get with bulk purchases.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But so there's that give and take, because all right, well, I need to attract more work. Well, okay, now I got more work, but I need more labor
more
force.
guys.
Yeah, but now the work that I'm attracting, the customers don't want to pay, so then I can't afford to pay for and it's just a revolving door. And I don't think people understand how regulated plumbing really is. So.
Yeah, it's people's health, and it kind of seems like they disregard it.
Yeah. So exactly. Plumbers protect the health of the nation.
That's definitely
Period.
Okay.
The doctors would not be as efficient or as effective as they are, and their success rate would be much lower
way less. Yes.
if they didn't have plumbers, electricians, HVAC guys.
Yeah.
You know what I
IT
mean?
guys, all those.
Well, I mean, there was a guy I used to work with over at Scotco, right? And he worked in the HVAC department. His niece ended up coming down with I can't remember what the condition was, but she had to have a specialized heating and air system installed in the house that scrubbed
it's
stuff
like
out of
had
the
to
air.
have an air scrubber, like a residential air scrubber for it.
Yeah. So, and I don't think people understand that, and that's what the aim of this show is,
Right.
is to try to bring some of that education there. Let people know what they're looking out for. Look for a license, ask for a license.
Yeah, definitely.
That sort of thing. We're legally required to show it to you. If you ask me for my plumbing license, I can.
Yeah, I'll whip that thing right on out. I'm proud of it.
Let me see your plumbing license.
You want to see it?
Yeah, let me see it.
It's blue right now, but it's finna change colors.
Oh, you're gonna pull it out.
Yeah,
All
for
right.
sure, man. I ain't afraid, man.
There it is.
It's hard earned.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not everybody gets these, man.
Yeah,
It
and you're
seems like
getting
not
ready to
everybody
go down and
wants
get
to
your
get 'em.
master.
Yeah, I'm going soon.
Yeah, so you're gonna have a gray card,
Yeah. So I said it's
and
fixing
it's
to
gonna
change
turn
colors.
into a gold card.
Yeah.
You'll be a gold card
Yeah,
carrier.
I'm gonna be one of the gold members.
All right. All right. You're gonna be one of the top dogs.
Yeah, man, moving up,
Okay.
man.
All right. All right. We'll be right back after this message. Welcome back, Joe. Thank you for being with me today, brother. I do it.
Anytime, brother. I'll support you.
I appreciate it. You've been with me for the last 4 years. We've known each other for better part of 2 decades. It was an absolute pleasure having you here.
Man, I'm glad
Hearing
to
some
be
of
here
your-
to help you out, and I'm glad to, help inform the people out there about what we do and
Bring
why
that
we
plumbing.
do
You bring that pipe knowledge.
every time.
All right, laying a
Yeah.
little bit of pipe.
Laying
All
that
right,
pipe.
folks. If you want a second opinion and you need plumbing work done, it's vital that you get that second opinion. We've saved customers thousands of dollars. We had a project that Joe went and looked at, and the previous plumbing company told them they needed to spend $68,000. Well, Joe went out there and looked at it. Turns out they didn't need to spend $68,000. It's imperative that you get a second opinion. So give Lawson's Plumbing a call, and we'll take care of you.
Texas Trade Talks with Paul Lawson.